American intelligence examined 144 military UFO reports. They explained one case out of 144. That was the official result in 2021. The single case they cracked with high confidence turned out to be a large, deflating balloon. Everyone read that as a scandal, a cover-up, proof the sky is full of things we cannot name. Guess what the other 143 cases had in common? Thin data, blurry sensors, no range, one angle, one witness, no follow-up. That is the whole list. Unexplained was a verdict on the paperwork. It was never a verdict on the object. Every story in this episode turns on one question. Are you studying the sky or your own equipment? A Navy video called Go Fast convinced the whole world that something impossible was in the air. Pilots whooping on the audio, a dark blob tearing across the ocean, low enough to skim the waves. The Pentagon later worked the numbers off the camera's own display: altitude, angle, range, wind. The object sat at roughly 13,000 feet, high up, nowhere near the water at all. Guess how fast that terrifying blob was actually traveling? Roughly 5 to 90 miles an hour, depending on the wind. A decent cyclist enters that range. Parallax did the rest. The jet was moving, so a slow object smeared past the background at speed. The object never went fast. The camera did, and every viewer inherited the camera's motion. A thermal camera has exactly one job. It collects heat. Distance is something it can never measure. It sees a warm shape and reports how wide that shape looks, angular size, and nothing beyond it. A candle at 10 feet and a bonfire a mile away can paint the identical patch on that screen. Without range, you have no size. Without both together, you have no speed either. The chain breaks. Guess how many of the famous military clips came from a sensor that measures distance? Almost none of them. The dramatic ones are passive infrared, blind to range by design. So when somebody says the thing was bus-sized and flew at Mach 3, ask which tool measured that. Much of the mystery lives inside numbers the camera was never built to give anyone. Gimbal is the clip that broke people. A smooth gray shape that slowly, deliberately rotates mid-air. Pilots gasp on the recording. The thing turns like a machine choosing a new direction. The camera behind it lives inside a pod that physically rolls to keep a target centered. When the pod reaches the edge of its travel, it rolls hard and software spins the picture back level. Guess what else turns in that frame at exactly the same moment? The clouds. The entire background rotates in lockstep with the object, which gives the game away. The shape stayed locked to the camera's own frame instead of to the horizon outside the aircraft. A machine turned, reported the object turning, and cameras stay blind to their own movement. Radar operators throw away most of what radar sees deliberately every second of every day. Birds, rain, insects, dust, slow-drifting junk. Filters strip it so real aircraft stand out clean. Those filters were tuned for one profile: fast, metal, flying a straight line at altitude. In late January 2023, a Chinese balloon crossed the entire country unopposed. NORAD widened the filter afterwards, letting slow, high, quiet objects appear on the scopes. Guess how many unknown objects turned up in the days right after that adjustment? 3 of them, over Alaska, Canada, and Lake Huron, all shot down inside 3 days. The sky did nothing new that week. The filter changed, and suddenly the sky looked crowded. Weather services release balloons twice a day from roughly 900 sites around the planet. In practice, about 1,300 fly each day, climbing toward 100,000 feet. Add the hobbyists. Radio clubs launch tiny silver party balloons that circle the Earth for months. An Illinois club lost its balloon,
call sign K9YO, the same day a jet fired over the Yukon. Guess how wide that balloon was? 32 inches, a beach ball with a radio taped under it, riding its 7th lap around the world. Nobody ever recovered the debris, so that match stays a striking coincidence rather than a fact. Before reaching for the exotic, count the boring objects already up there, thousands every day.
SpaceX has more than 10,800 satellites in orbit, and the number climbs weekly. Each carries flat, mirror-bright panels that catch sunlight at one very specific geometry. When the angle lines up, the satellite throws a short, fierce flash at one small patch of ground. Observers see a light arrive from nowhere, blaze, and vanish. No sound, no aircraft, no trail. Guess what the Pentagon's UFO office published a full technical paper about? Satellite flares. A pilot near Gallup saw lights moving every direction. Starlink sat overhead. The flare lasts a second or two, long enough to feel impossible, too short to film properly. New hardware in the sky reliably creates new ghosts on the ground. Every generation gets its own. The Pentagon's UFO office logged 319 fresh cases in its most recent year. 114 got solved: balloons, birds, satellites, aircraft, drones, a rocket launch. Also, one man flying a jetpack, which may be the finest sentence in any government document. Guess where the rest of the cases ended up? 205 stayed open. 191 sit in an active archive, too thin. That label describes the evidence, never the object. Thin data is a filing status, nothing more. The office reports no evidence of alien technology, which is a statement about what they found. Whether anyone is out there stays wide open. How carefully we check is the part we control. 4 questions walk out of this footage and straight into your ordinary week. First, what was the instrument built to find? Every tool has a target it was designed around. Second, did the observer move? Half the claims that something moved come from the watcher moving. Third, do I know the distance? Without distance, size and speed are opinions wearing numbers. Fourth, how common is the dull version? Thousands of balloons fly daily. Weigh that first, always. Guess which of the 4 catches the most mistakes in arguments, in business, in the news? The second one. People almost always miss that they were the thing that moved. Before you believe the object moved, check whether you did.